Yeah, this is DitzonGomez and Johnny G show. Red in PA. Stand up. Yeah. Woo. When two great minds think alike, for the city we unite. We are never gonna stop, for the positive we fight. I'm the rapper on the mic, he's the barber, shine so bright. The lion don't sleep at night, for the positive we fight. For the negative we fight, for the positive we fight. For the negative we fight, for the positive we fight. For the negative we fight, for the positive we fight. For the negative we fight, for the positive we fight. What's up, everyone? And this is the DitzonGomez and
Johnny G show.
And today we got a special guest from Northeast Middle School.
Yep.
Mr.Brown.
Yep. We appreciate you coming here and coming and supporting our show.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Anytime.
First off, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you on the new show. And I'm excited. I know my man's over here, Johnny's excited too to have you. We have a couple questions to ask you.
Fire away.
All right. My first question is, what kind of art and music programs and extracurricular are available for the students in Northeast Middle School?
Well, we offer some of the traditional band, chorus, orchestra. All the students have a general music class where they learn the history of music and different popular artists from now to way back in the day. But then there's some special opportunities. We have an end of the year talent show throughout the year. I know the kids like to see me get on stage, so every now and then I'll get on stage and we'll do a karaoke, a fun karaoke afternoon, or I'll do some singing on my own. We just had our spring concert last week, and I talked to the students after their daytime performance for the school, which was prior to the evening concert, and the message I wanted to tell them was personally, not coming as Mr. Brown, the principal, but as Alex Brown, the fan of music. I grew up in a musical household. My dad and uncles, they were all in something called drum corps. Drum corps is like the NFL of marching bands, and all of my uncles and my dad, they were in the Reading Buccaneers. They're in the Hall of Fame of the Reading Buccaneers, but I never picked up an instrument. But music was always in my blood, whether it was my dad listening to albums, going to family picnics, there was always music. So anytime I hear a beat, I'm tapping my foot, I'm bobbing my head. And the message I wanted to tell the kids was, hold on to that gift that they have. Down the road, they may pick a different path, but right now, it's something special that they should embrace, and they should continue to do that, because they never know. While they may not turn into professional musicians, you never know when they're at a social gathering and there's a piano in the corner, and they can end up being the entertainment. And I also talked about something that when it comes to music, it's sometimes viewed as a cliche, but music is an international language. You play music, you don't necessarily have to know the meaning of every lyric because it may be in a language you don't understand, but you can feel the beat. You can tell whether or not it's a song that's evoking happy emotions or a song that's telling a sad story. And that's the power of music. And so whenever I have the opportunity to introduce a new musical opportunity for the students, whether it's an assembly or just something we develop internally at the school level, I do whatever I can to provide those opportunities, because as much as we have kids that do sign up for these special programs, we also have kids who they put on concerts by themselves, to themselves, in their rooms, and they're phenomenal. And if I can tap into that, or a teacher or someone can provide them just that one moment to really shine, you never know what that little confidence booster can do for a kid. Rather than entertaining themselves, entertaining their stuffed animals or their friends or their family members just in their house, just that one little opportunity of doing karaoke Friday at Northeast Middle School, and then they're received with a round of applause by their classmates. that may be that moment for that student. So I'm a big advocate for music and students getting involved in music, and not only music. I know you asked, just art in general.
Yes.
That's another thing that I see. When I walk into classrooms or when I'm in the cafeteria, so many kids have sketchbooks and they're doing such phenomenal art. And so last week we also had an event called Night at the Northeast Middle School Museum, and it's an opportunity for kids and teachers to display projects they've worked on throughout the school year. And a lot of those projects involved artistic talent, whether it was painting murals on the lockers, painting or drawing historic figures. But again, it's an opportunity that we were able to present and offer to the kids so that they can showcase that talent. As much as I understand my title as a school principal, and traditionally that's reading, writing, arithmetic, and some of those traditional subjects. I also understand that our role as an educational institution is to take every individual child and help support their passion, help them understand what they are good at, and help guide them in that direction. So, and I think art, whether it's music, whether it's art and drawing or painting, I think a lot of our kids have that talent. They just don't know how to fully express that or have the confidence in doing so. And so, whenever I have those opportunities, I make sure we develop something for that.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you guys do that for the kids, because like DitzonGomez, he went to Northeast.
Yes.
And look at him now. He's an artist,
Yes.
So he's proven that there is people that can go far with the music industry.
Absolutely.
He's an artist right now. He's up and coming, and he has a lot of talent. And actually,
Thank you, man.
Mr.Brown knows Ditson from Northeast. He was one of the students there.
Yes.
Yeah, Ditson was a visitor to my office every now and then. But I know that we're going to jump to conclusions and assume some things. But as with most students that come into the school, especially middle school is that age where one day a kid wants to impress the teacher. The next day they want to impress their friends, and sometimes when they want to impress their friends, it's not making the best decisions. But when I have those opportunities to provide that life lesson, whether it's making better decisions or taking advantage of opportunities, sending those messages, I do. And I think Ditson is one of those individuals who maybe not at that moment, maybe not at that time, allowed that message to sink in. But I can tell you, it was years from the time Ditson left to the next time I saw Ditson, and it just so happened to be at a restaurant, and he gave me an update on his life, and he reminisced and talked about some of those conversations we had, and I would love to say that my entire mission is to make sure is to completely change people's lives. I know dealing with 1,000 kids, maybe I'm not the one that always does that, but in that case, it gave me a sense of satisfaction that again, while it wasn't an immediate response on Ditson's part, the fact that something I said or something I did helped in driving Ditson in the direction that he's in, because at the end of the day, it was Ditson that had to make the decision that okay, I'm going to get into music. I'm going to start doing positive things. So regardless of what I said, Ditson here had to really send that message to himself, and so it makes me feel good that that Ditson and other students who I got to know better than others in the school. Again, there were over 1,000 kids in the school, and unfortunately, I couldn't have a as intimate relationship and frequent conversation opportunities with all the students as I had with Ditson. Otherwise, I would just be sitting in my office having conversations. But because Ditson just wanted to come and visit me often. I got to know Ditson, better than some of the other students from his class in that period of time, and so it's a lot more meaningful now seeing that we're sitting next to one another and we're on the same path of just positivity, whatever that is. And so I couldn't be prouder.
It's amazing. It's
Thank
amazing.
you, man. I appreciate that. I really do.
Absolutely.
I have another question for you. Is being a principal your passion?
You know what? It's my passion now. You know, I can't sit here and say that, from the time I was in elementary school, I always wanted to be a principal. But somehow being a principal, I think it gives me the opportunity to kind of do everything that I really like doing. Yeah. I started off as a teacher. I really enjoy helping other people. Started out as a teacher. I have an athletic background, so coaching's in there. And
you don't mind me asking for the teacher, what were you teaching?
So when I taught at Southwest Middle School. At some point, I taught all three of the middle school grades, 6, 7, and 8. I taught all of the subject areas: math, science, social studies, and language arts. So
amazing.
I was kind of like a
some
jack of
people
all trades. Yeah.
Yeah, they do one thing, but you did everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it was.
Cool.
And I had a great time. A lot of my kids. Well, I mean, I don't know if this is, it's really showing my age now, but I actually have students at Northeast now who are the children of some of the students that I first taught, which is
cool.
It's cool. It definitely shows my age and the gray up top. But it's neat. It's neat because some of the comments are funny.
Yeah.
Some of the kids say this is, hey, Mr. Brown, this is kind of like karma for me. My son's giving me a hard time, like I gave you a hard time. And I just laugh and I say, "Told you."
Yeah.
But it's neat. It all comes full circle. But yeah, to fully answer your question, it's my passion now.
Yeah.
I love doing what I do. I love having to have those conversations that I used to have with Ditson. There's just something about having an influence on someone else's life, and being able to watch them grow, and watch that aha moment, whether it's a student and even sometimes that happens to teachers. Sometimes teachers, they get frustrated, and sometimes they question. Is this right for me? And then I have to have those conversations of it's definitely right for you. You just have to be patient. It's not going to be an overnight transformation. So yeah, I would say right now it's a passion. It wasn't always on my mind, but it's what I do and I love it.
That's cool, man. I'm happy to hear that because you help out a lot of kids. Like you said, there's not only 1,000, there's over 1,000. Mm-hmm. So you impact their life by you being a role model. You're a role model to them.
Definitely.
A big role model.
Definitely.
And that's the most important thing that every child needs in any school. And he's the example of a role model. He might not think of it, but I think he's a role model.
He definitely is. He definitely is. Because I was just I don't know if you remember, but when I visited you in your office a couple times, I remember you telling me once, stop trying to impress others. Find yourself and try to impress yourself. And I think it's because I was trying to fit in. So I found music, and music is where I fit in. And you really got to me with those words. And that's why when I saw you a couple months ago at the restaurant, I was like, I have to tell him this, and you mean a lot to me in my life. Yeah. So what Johnny just said is really true. You inspired me. And your words definitely got to me. You might not think that you impact people, but you're impacting people, thousands, and that's the best thing about it, Because I think my problem was, I was trying to impress people, and people that are not in my life no more, people that didn't believe in me now, and I just have a lot of respect for you.
I appreciate it. I got goosebumps right now because that's in the end. Like I said, whether it's success on going off to college or success on having a family, success is the ultimate goal. Yeah. And the sweeter success is in a story like yours, Ditson, where it wasn't a pre-made plan. It didn't go as planned. And it had some bumps, it had some valleys, but now you're at the top, you're at the peak, looking down at what was, and just moving forward. So it means a lot to me for you to even think that I had an influence. But I appreciate it. I'm flattered, and I just wish you the best and continue.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Were you born here in Reading, PA?
I was born in Reading, PA. I was born in what is now the intermediate high school. What used to be.
I was born there too.
Yeah,
I was born there too.
What used to be St. Joe's
So
Hospital.
cool.
Yeah. I was born, some time ago. I only left to go to college. Grew up on the northwest end of town. Went to Riverside Northwest. I was the last class of 9th grade in what are now the middle schools. They were the junior high. So 9th grade at Northwest I was in that class, and when we moved up to 10th grade, the 9th grade followed us. Graduated, from Reading High in 1994, went to Millersville, which is just outside of Lancaster, less than an hour away. And then I came back here, got a job, with the district, and still live here. I still live in this part of town now, the northeast part of town. My wife's an assistant principal in the district. We were high school classmates.
Wow, that's awesome. Amazing.
My son is a freshman at Reading High School. My daughter is a 5th grader at 13th and Union, so she'll be with me the next 3 years at Northeast. We'll see how that goes. While I'm wearing a green shirt, my blood is red and black. Reading, Red Knights all the way. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. What made you decide to take this position as a principal of Northeast Middle School?
I get that question often, and I think I have to start with what made me become a teacher, because becoming a teacher, just like becoming a principal, it wasn't something that I always wanted to do. And I think I referenced that I was a student athlete. So when you're a student athlete, and I was pretty good, you want to be a professional athlete. So up through junior high and high school, I was going to the NFL. I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. The reality sets in. I got a scholarship to play football at Millersville, and part of the application process of going to college is choosing a major. And again, my mind was set on I'm going to play football and I'm going to go to the NFL. But I needed to pick a major, which would be a career path, and so just kind of putting together things that I liked, things that I really enjoyed. I talked about I enjoyed helping people. I enjoyed working with kids, so naturally I became a teacher.
Wow.
Went through the program at Millersville, got the job at Southwest, and a couple years into Southwest, probably about my 3rd year, the vice principal at the time, Mrs. Key, she pulled me into her office and she said, hey, Mr. Brown, did you ever give any thought to being a school administrator? And I said, no, not really. And she said, well, I think you're doing a good job. You understand the kids in Reading from being a kid in Reading. You do a really good job with the kids. I think you should consider a school administration. So I took her wise assessment and enrolled in a program at Alvernia, which was Alvernia College at the time. It's now Alvernia University. I did the program in 2.5 years. Became an assistant principal at Northeast. Was the assistant principal there for 2 years. Then I became the principal there for 5 years. 2 years I went to Southwest, 2 years I went to intermediate high school, and I returned to Northeast 2 years ago. So I'm now finishing my 3rd year back. So that was kind of like my path. It was just, I was just doing my job as a teacher, and somebody, saw something in me and encouraged me, and
Motivation.
yeah,
It's
and
amazing.
that's the way it is, and it's kind of like, what we began this whole thing about, and finding talent in students and saying, hey, I think you should do this.
Yeah.
And kind of followed that advice with Mrs. Key, and 12 years into it, I'm still a principal.
So it's safe to say, thank you, Mrs. Key.
Thank you, Ms. Kate. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Because now we have a role model for our kids in Reading, and that's pretty cool, that you were born here in the city and you came back because this is your hometown, and there's nothing better than giving back to your hometown as being a principal.
Yeah,
I would say. I have another question for you. We all have that one person that motivates us. Who motivates you?
Awesome question.
If we have to, if we're going like right now, I'd have to say, you know, and I have 3 beautiful children, but you know, watching my son now grow, I see myself in him, and it's really neat because, you know, I've you know, he's involved in athletics, football, like I was, and just watching him from the time he was 6 years old, coaching him, and now seeing him in high school, and now, you know, starting to have those conversations about college and whatnot. It's a big motivator to me. It's number one to excuse me, you know, just continue what I do on a daily basis, but just to remind me that, you know, I'm not only a principal, I'm a dad, and making sure, you know, doing the thing I need to do to make sure he's successful, and then, you know, his sister behind him. So I would say my kids are the ultimate motivator for me right now. Growing up, I can't say there was one person. I can say it was a collection of a lot of people.
Yeah.
My grandfather, he was the patriarch of our family for a long time.
Yeah.
And you know, when he walked, you stopped and watched. When he talked, you stopped and listened. And he carried himself with such grace and such confidence. And so he's one individual. You know, my dad, of course, was someone who coached me. But then, you know, with all my, you know, athletic references, I had so many coaches who had an impact. Some coaches who, at the time, I wish I had a different coach. But now, when I reflect on what coaches had the most impact on me, a lot of times I refer to those coaches who I did not like at the time, because at the moment I didn't understand what they were trying to do. And it wasn't until I got a little older where I was able to connect the dots, and I'm like, okay, now I understand what Coach so-and-so was talking about, and why he was doing what he was doing. So I think my motivators, it's a great mix of individuals that brought different qualities for me to kind of hang on to, that really motivated me, and still continue to motivate me, you know, to this day.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. You know, we all have, like he said, lots of people that motivate us. He had a lot of people that motivated him, and all came together for him to be who he is today. And now he's motivating thousands of kids, which is, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yes, it's incredible, and it's basically how I want to go back to what I was saying earlier. I wasn't understanding when you were telling me these things when I was in your office visiting a couple times, and I got to realize as I got older, I was like, okay, this is what he was trying. It just clicked. The light turned on above my head, and it just clicked. That's what he was trying to tell me this whole time. Yep. And I think that's pretty cool that you had a lot of people backing you up and believed in you, just as well as you believed in me, and you backed me up because I'm here. You know, I'm interviewing you, and this is a positive thing we're trying to do. And I got another question.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, May 24th was the career fair that took place at Reading High School and Northeast Middle School. Sir, if you don't mind telling the youth, the city, the generation, the future, why this event was and is so important to the kids.
You know, I think when I went to school, I kind of talked about it here, I really didn't start thinking about a career until almost my last year or so of high school, when I was, you know, going to college to play sports. I just really never gave a true thought on what it is I wanted to be. And I just think it's so important to begin that conversation as early as possible. And I know it's not just Northeast, but the district in general is trying to give those opportunities as early as possible. What we do with our career fair, we actually lead up to the career fair with monthly career days. We have our students take a career interest in the beginning of the school year, understanding their middle school kids, And in September they may want to be a policeman, but in February they may want to be a barbershop owner.
Yeah.
So we understand that, and that's fine. That's life. People change careers as adults, but we want to get them to start thinking. So we take the career interest survey, and then every month we bring in about 4 or 5 different guests. They're all of random professions, and in the 3 years that we've done this, we've had actors who acted on television shows. We've had funeral home directors. We've had barbers. We've had boxing promoters. We've had, if you name it, we've probably had some sort of representation of it. And then at the end of the year, we have our big career fair where we bring in over 30 different vendors. And for the day, we kind of shut down regular school, and we give the kids an opportunity to visit the different professions, learn about them, take home some literature, and just start to think about what they want to be. I've had plenty of kids tell me that they never heard of such and such profession, or they didn't realize that their passion now actually has a profession connected to it. They may just think what they do on the side is just doodling, or it's just something that they like to do, not knowing how many different jobs they can take the skill and talent they already have and apply it to a career. So, really just planting those. We really want to plant those seeds early of kids thinking about what they want to be, and that also leads into when they get to high school, selecting certain courses. So that they are preparing themselves before college or whatever they decide to do after high school, because that's another thing. We don't want kids to think that they automatically have to go to college. They could go to a trade school, they could go somewhere else, but as long as they're thinking about their future and hopefully doing something that they love to do and have a passion for.
Yeah, because when you do something that you love, you'll never work another day in your life.
Yeah, it's not a job.
It's not a job. Do you feel like you when you wake up and you go to your job, do you feel like it's a job to you?
No, not a job. It's definitely something that doesn't go as planned every day.
Yeah.
But I know that while I may not know the name of the student or students individually, I know every day that I was able to make some sort of impact. Whether it was just saying hello to a student that I'd never said hello to.
Wow.
Just knowing that subconsciously and whatnot, that's what kind of makes it continues this as being just what I do and not really a job.
Sounds good. And Ditson was gonna ask you, what's your favorite song?
Yeah, what do you think about DitzonGomez Red Light Green Light music video on YouTube right now?
Oh, I love the clean version of Red Light, Green Light.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm gonna have to download that or watch it on YouTube and see what my son thinks about that.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
And fortunately, that's all the time we have left. I really want to say thank you for popping up to our show. Thank you for taking the invitation, because it means a lot to me and it means a lot to Donnie.
Yeah, it means a lot.
And one last thing you want to tell the viewers?
Yeah, number one, a lot of the questions were directed towards me. I have to thank you guys for what you're doing. I hate to admit it, but I'm getting closer to the end of my career, and at some point I got to pass off the torch, and the torch is getting passed off to your generation.
Yeah.
And continuing to guide the children, guide the community, because it's not just the children that need guidance as well. It's the community in general. And so I feel honored that I was invited. I'm humbled that I was invited to participate in this project. But the two of you guys are the engine that's driving this movement, and that's exactly what this is. It's a movement of positivity, and shining a great light on what is a great city of Reading.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. We talked about how I born and raised here and whatnot.
We were all born here.
Yeah.
Ditson, him, me.
Yeah.
We were born in the same hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I certainly have options. I could go somewhere else if I want, and I just don't. I just have this connection that just seems to be an anchor, and I appreciate that. gentlemen like yourselves, share the same commitment to the city and to the youth and to being positive. So, great job on this project. I wish you guys the best of luck, and whatever you need from me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate you giving back to the kids, because you grew up here too. And like we said, you're a role model to everybody. So don't ever think that you're not. DitzonGomez is a proven fact that you're a role model.
Yes. Follow your dreams. Stay true to yourself. And that's
Stay
all
humble.
it takes. Yes.
Stay humble. Always. Take care, guys.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.